All stars, all stars. Lavender's back.
Hello, hello, Josiah. Hi, everyone.
So, real quick before we start, by the way, folks, today's topics are going to be something about the nuclear family or the changing of the nuclear family, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
also, is love a prison? So we're gonna figure that out because I have no clue where this is gonna go, and I'm excited. I'm just as in the dark as everyone else, and that's how I like it. Okay.
Honestly, same.
Lavender, so how does it feel to one be the season finale of season three, and then two already be an all-star? How does that feel?
It feels, it makes me feel so light, like I'm floating, you know? Because to be a closer, that's one thing, but then to be brought back,
Yes, as an
ah, I'm so honored.
all-star. You're not just brought back,
So
you're an
honored.
all-star. Back
So
by
happy about
popular
it.
demand.
So people like me? That's crazy. What?
we love a good lavender. We love a lavender.
Well, I appreciate everyone so much, and especially you, our great host.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm glad to be able to see season four and for one to there be even an all-star season, but also to see season four because I almost quit.
Oh,
I
we can't do that though.
We
It's so
can't do
easy to
that
quit. We
exactly. We
can't.
can't do that. I was planning to quit after season two. I was planning to quit
Mm-hmm.
during season three. Here we are. So I'm just like, okay, season five is gonna happen because like
Yes.
before I started season four, like I was like, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit. And then I was just like, nope, here we are. So here we are and we love that.
What was making you think you should quit? Was it just like the amount of work?
It mm, it was kind of like I would say a comparison, comparing to like other like podcasters
Yeah.
who I don't even know, probably will never meet. For example, like Logan Paul, Joe Rogan. You know, I don't know. I just started comparing
Yeah.
myself. Started I and then I just kind of got like down on myself just in general.
Mm.
Um, So yeah, it was just all that mixed together. And then honestly, I don't know how to fully answer that because I feel like there were other mitigating factors, but I just
Yeah.
not able to verbalize it. But glad to still be here.
Yes. I'm so glad
I
you decided to push through.
yeah, I definitely am the type of person where um, when it comes to certain things, not all things, but when it comes to certain things, like I have these expectations
Mm-hmm.
that are very they're not measurable for the time frame that I have them. Like I'm the type of person where I'm just wanting something to be,
Fair.
you
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
this is supposed to be like Logan Paul status, level, and I'm just like, you haven't even been doing this for a year and a half, so it's like I can kind of like go black and white with it and not like recognize the gray areas.
Fair.
That makes
Fair.
sense.
Especially, I mean, and then you see people like certain podcasts how they do just take off like
Hmm.
overnight, it seems like. So it's like, well, why can't that happen to me? Why isn't
Right.
that happening to me? All this stuff.
Right.
But I'm very glad that you decided to keep pushing because
Yeah. And
we're
it's
we're
like
headed there. We're headed there.
we're headed there, and I'm glad like my higher power helped remind me, and myself reminded me that like why did we start the podcast to begin with? You
Mm,
know what I mean? And so I'm just like,
yeah.
boom, never want to forget that this podcast is strictly for healing folks and just bringing understanding and awareness to us all. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, that's the main reason. That's why the podcast was started. To heal folks, to save someone's life.
Yeah. To let
That's
people know that they're not alone. Create a sense of community.
yes, bingo, bingo, boom,
Yeah.
bingo. We love that. So, but yeah, thanks for asking. I don't know. It makes me feel more accountable, and it just makes me feel more motivated now that I'm able to like
Mm-hmm.
just say that out loud. Because it's one thing to tell yourself, and it's one thing to like say it out loud, let alone say it out loud
Yeah.
to someone else. You know?
Right. Right. Have that
Mhm.
feedback.
Yes,
Hear it.
we love the feedback. We love a lavender feedback. Um. Okay, so Lavender, take us through this journey. I don't know where you want to start first. Um, I'm
Okay.
curious though, honestly, on both of them. Which subject matter would you like to start first? Take us through that journey.
I feel like maybe talking about the nuclear family first
Yes, because
would
what is that?
like lead into it, help with that. So I wanted to talk about the nuclear family because, you know, I'm 25, I'll be 26 next year.
You
And
said you'll be
thinking
26
back
when?
next year
What
in
month?
June,
Oh, June.
June.
Okay.
hmm I'm a Gemini, so people might not like lavender no more after that. But it's just, I started thinking a lot more about where I am versus where I thought I would be when I was a kid. And we're not there. And we're not there. I was supposed to be married. I was supposed to have kids already. I was supposed to have my own house somewhere, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
living this whole adult life, right? But the reality is, I'm just kind of starting in my career. Like, I just found something.
Mm.
I'm living at home with my parents. And I do have a serious partner, but we're not engaged and we're not married.
Right, right. Y'all are so adorable. I feel like his personality is amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
I love when I get to bring him around, like my friends, because he's one of those guys where it's like, I'll just let my girl do what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be here in the background for support. I'll put my 2 cents in, but he doesn't like try to take the show,
Right.
you know.
Right.
He's just, I'm gonna let her do her. I'm gonna stand
Yeah.
back and watch her. And I'm just like, yeah,
Yes. Y'all look
yeah,
so
do that.
adorable. I was just like, y'all are so adorable. Oh my god. Sorry, I didn't mean to get us off subject. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
go. Go ahead.
it is all good. He's very sweet, and I love
Okay.
him very much. So, anyways, but like, okay, yeah, and thinking about what our future could be like, what our household could look like, it's going to be nuclear, and the fact that there'll probably be a mom, a dad, and a kid at some point, but the roles are going to be so much different
Mm-hmm.
than what we were taught when we were kids, what we had to do in those type of relationships. And that's where I want to get into like the changing of the nuclear family,
Yeah.
because as we now know, gay people have been around forever.
Yeah.
This isn't just a new thing.
Right.
And now they have a few more rights, like they can be married and have all this stuff. So now it's not gonna, the nuclear family doesn't just look like a man, a woman, and a child.
Right.
To be a man, and a child,
Right.
woman, and a child, or no
Right.
children.
Right.
Because fuck them kids. Okay?
I didn't even know what I was doing until you said it. I hate you.
I love how you're just down. You're like, yeah.
You were something else.
That was funny.
That was funny. Love it.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's all changing, and I think as the nuclear family change, like who the players are, the roles have to change as well.
Yes.
So getting away with those gender norms and all that
Yes.
stuff. And I think that's what we really need
Yeah.
because they're
Mm-hmm.
not really helping.
Right.
At least they're not helping
Exactly.
women.
It's limiting. It's very limiting, and two comments that I want to make on that real quick before I forget is I love how you did
Hmm.
like, the nuclear family, how we were taught mom, dad, and now it's like dad, dad, kid, you know?
Hmm.
And my thing is, I'm like,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, what is important is loving parent, children, or
Yes.
loving partner, no kids, whatever people want to
Yes.
do. You know what I mean? Just like
Yes.
loving and loving. And then
Hmm.
the second thing is a lot of people don't know the difference between sex and gender. Gender and folks who don't
Okay.
know, I completely recommend, I encourage, doing some digging and, not just listening to like media because they want people to not know things. They want to cause division. They want us
Yes.
to, act from our ignorances because they know we don't know everything. They know that
Hmm.
we can learn things, but they're just counting on us not learning certain things. Um,
Agreed.
right, because confusion equals cash. They want us to be confused on certain topics. So something that I had to do some digging into is, there's a difference between sex and gender. Sex is that like what you're born with, and a lot of people don't talk about how like someone can be born both sexes. It's very rare, but it's like it is a thing. And then
Yes.
gender is a man-made construct, literally. Like,
Hmm.
so when
Just like
people
race.
say, yeah, exactly. So when
Hmm.
people say there's only two genders, technically no, because
Hmm.
we just created what certain things should look like. And
Yeah.
to also like throw a wrench in the plans for like debate is, part of quote unquote gender norm is only females paint their nails. But back then, males were the ones that painted their nails. Females didn't paint their nails. It was looked down
Yes.
upon. Yeah. People say, oh, they're tired of seeing, men in
And
wigs
then
and, men
men in
with makeup.
dresses.
Right. Or, also like, for example, like Mrs. Doubtfire and Medea, people have said, well, they're funny, but I don't think men should be acting as women. I was like, y'all don't know that back then it was actually frowned upon for women to act in plays. So men had to. Yeah, and I was like, it was like that for centuries. So it's like,
Centuries.
right. So it's like society, what is really the definition? Because it's just like it seems like we're gonna forever keep changing the definition, and I'm just like, so
Right.
right. So I'm like, yeah, there can be more than two genders. Just because you recognize two and you were taught to doesn't mean that that's what it is. That's
Right.
just
Like that's fact.
right, right. And I know that's controversial. I know some people might disagree, but I'm like, that's literally the thing. Gender is a man made construct. Literally, you go to
Hmm.
other cultures, you're going to see men with their nails painted. You're going to see men with
Yeah.
makeup on. So it's just like, and their makeup kind of looks different. Like some people, they just like kind of paint their face. That's considered makeup. For them, they call it culture and art.
Yeah.
But if they come to a different society, if they come to, America, it's going to be seen as makeup. And then we're going to say, oh, men shouldn't have that. I'm just like, you know what?
Hmm.
Gender is a man made construct
Yes.
that
And
never
then
existed until men, or not necessarily men, but, well, yeah, but until people started to say, okay, this is what that is. I'm like, it never existed. We created that and we continue to create and change that. And we
hmm
just follow
change
along.
that narrative.
Yes.
Yeah. It
Preach.
it almost most likely definitely started with a palm color person. Um, and also the thing is like there's no like binary in nature.
Right.
Like everything is a spectrum. Like, even with the animals. Yes, there are male and female animals, but like some animals, the male hold the babies and give birth.
Yes.
Or some animals, like they can switch sexes depending on what their community needs. If there needs to
Yep.
be more women,
Seahorses,
they'll
male
do.
seahorses carry the
Carry
babies,
that.
and
Hmm.
clownfish switch sexes.
I'm so glad that you knew the animals I was talking about, because I'm like, there's some animal out there. I saw it at some point.
Right?
I
Yes.
love that. Thank you for coming with the facts. So it's just like nothing is one or the other.
Right.
As we should all know this now. It's so cliche, but it's not just black and white. There's always a gray. And the
Hmm.
sooner that we can recognize the gray because they're there, like I feel like the more peaceful everybody can be with themselves. Like men
Yes.
internally and women internally can
Yes, with
be okay.
themselves. Yes.
That's the thing. And I'm sure you've heard and have kind of like recognized, and I didn't know it at the time, like just growing up, but like having words to it now, I'm like, oh yeah, a lot of men don't like women,
Mhm.
you know?
I think I know
They
where you're going
just
with this. I think I've heard this before, but continue. I think I know where you're going. Oh yes, drop the ball. Drop the ball.
drop it. Okay.
Drop it.
A lot of men just don't like women. They don't find us interesting. They don't care about us as people necessarily. They like to have something to show off to other men because they
Hmm.
want men's validation. That's what a lot of men really want is other men's validation.
Hmm. Hmm.
And how do you get that validation? You get a wife, you get a good job, you have a couple of kids, badass kids running around,
Yep.
and then you go out of the house and you're like, yeah, I got the old ball and chain at home,
Yeah,
or I
and they're
got
like,
these
yeah, you're
kids,
a
blah
real
blah.
man.
Yeah, you're a real man for that.
Yeah, you slept
But
with
at
how many
home,
girls? You're a real man.
you're a real okay.
Right?
The
You're a mess. This is why you're an
that
all-star.
it's just so ridiculous to think about.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people that a man has or amount of sex that a man has ties into his worth and can make him more valuable.
Hmm.
But then the that same amount of people for a woman is like lesser of a value.
Exactly. What is up with that? Like, you don't ever hear people call. Well, it's like, I mean, you hear it now more, but it's like for the longest, it seemed like women took like the shame was placed on the women, not the man. You know,
Yeah.
saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
she's a hoe." No, just because he cheated on his wife with her, she's the hoe. And I was like, no, 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 no. The
Yeah,
man
yeah.
decided to cheat. He could have said no. You know what I mean? I'm just like, wait a
Mhm.
minute. Wait a minute. Like, people fist bump him for sleeping around with many girls, but if a girl sleeps around with many guys, oh, she's a hoe.
Oh, she's a hoe. She's used goods. No one's gonna take her seriously. So
Mm-hmm,
why
mm-hmm.
are we taking men seriously?
Right.
How about that?
Yes. Yes. To all the men listening, literally stick with this. We're not attacking you. Stick with
Oh,
we're
yeah.
attacking the lies that have been taught to us. That's what we're attacking.
Yes.
And it's not
Yes.
necessarily it's not y'all's fault. This didn't start to you. This didn't start with you. This started to you,
Mhm.
folks. So that's
Mhm.
what we're saying here. We're just enlightening things, but we're also laughing with it because it's me and her friendship. We laugh.
Almost everything is a joke. Almost
Right?
everything.
Oh my gosh. And like speaking of like the lies that we've been taught, like something that I could have added towards, when we're talking about like, genders being a man-made construct and just because we were taught something. So this is that. Just because we don't believe something doesn't mean it's not true.
That part.
Right?
That part. Yes.
Yeah. I was like,
Yes.
I can believe that like, you know, just like I can believe that discrimination against gay people doesn't happen. That doesn't make it any less true than it is, because it does happen, whether I choose to believe it or not. You know what I mean? Or choose to,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like,
And and in that way, it's like it's an opinion. Like it's your opinion that discrimination doesn't happen against gay people. But there's a distinction between an opinion and a fact, right? The fact is that it does happen. Your opinion is that it doesn't. And maybe it's because you don't see it or you try not to see it. You try not to give that attention. But the
mm-hmm.
fact is still over here.
Yeah,
It's happening. And
yeah,
it does happen. It's happened for too long.
too
Too
long.
long.
And a lot of by the ones who are hiding it, and they just have their fun in the dark.
Mm,
Hmm. And
mm.
and also,
And
like you said, fact or opinion. The fact is, gender is a man-made construct that keeps changing. An opinion
mhm.
is there are only two genders, but
Yes.
that's literally not the fact. I'm just
Yeah.
like, do y'all's research, Google it, look at the definition between of what gender is, look at the definition of what sex is, look at the difference between those
Yes.
definitions. We interlock those, and it's just like, no, no. The fact is, gender is a man-made
It,
construct.
that's something that you can choose. You know,
Right, right,
like you
exactly,
can. You can choose how you want to express your
right.
gender.
Rather
Like
than having
that's
society choose for us. I'm like,
yeah.
what?
Or sign it at birth. You know,
Right,
like with the pink and blue, is it boy, is it a girl, trucks and
right,
flowers. It's like who knows if the baby girl is gonna like pink and flowers. I never liked pink.
right,
Ever.
right.
Ever.
You
And
like
that may be because
lavender.
it was always okay, I do. I do. Give me a cuter color, a softer color
Yeah.
than pink.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Maybe
Yes.
it's because and maybe I don't like it so much because it's always been thrown on me,
Mm-hmm. That's why I love the
you
color
know?
pink, because it goes against like the blue that was thrown at me.
Thrown on you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And all that like assigning stuff and coming back to nuclear family, like, it's dwindling away
It's
because
dwindling. It's changing.
we don't have a pink mom and a blue dad. We may have a blue mom
Mm-hmm.
and a blue dad, okay? And she's just a little bit more masculine in
Yeah.
her energy. She's a little bit less feminine, but that still works. Or you may have a purple dad, you know, who's masculine and feminine. He has them both, you
Yes.
know, and bring that balance.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
we really could just do away with the two sexes. Yes. Well, actually, there's three because,
Right.
like you said,
Exactly.
you can
It's
be both. You can
yes,
be
that
both.
is the reality. They don't like the people. Society does not like to talk about that. Those people,
Mm-mm,
they're very just overlooked, and I'm like, folks, the fact literally is that, there are people that are born both sexes. What about
mm-hmm.
them? What
Yeah.
about them?
Like, what do they do?
Yeah, yeah,
Are they male or female? Someone has to decide which bathroom do they go to. Someone has to
right,
decide, but not really. Like they can choose.
right,
They can decide, "Oh, I identify or feel like more of a girl,
right,
traditional girl, whatever the fuck, or I feel like a boy." I feel like even if you don't have both sets of genitalia, there's that kind of battle at some point in a kid's life where it's like, well, my mom dresses me like a boy, but I kind of identify a little bit more with my girlfriends. I have more girlfriends. I like the dolls that my little sister has,
right,
or I like the dresses that my mom wears.
right,
So it's like, why at that point is it fair to that child if we're supposed to be a loving parent to
mm-hmm.
say, no, you're not gonna
Right,
wear my dresses. No, you're not gonna play with your sister's
right,
toys. We're just like, they're
yeah.
kids.
And it's not
They
like
don't.
men don't like boys. It's not like they don't like dolls necessarily. It's more so because I'm talking about like me. I'm just like, It's more so it's like, they hide it and just stay away from it because that's what they were taught. Even though deep down it's cool because it's like it's not like
Yeah.
when you're in your mother's belly or whatever, it's not like your DNA is saying, okay, you can't like dolls. No, it's like you come into
Yeah.
this society and society says, I'm already going to put limitations on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And let you not do X, Y, and Z. I'm not gonna let
Right,
you have emotions or learn empathy or learn how to keep a house clean or clean up after yourself.
right,
Why is it that in a nuclear family setting, like traditional setting, that men don't know how to clean?
right. Clean them dishes.
Like, like at some point, didn't you live by yourself? You
Yeah,
had your mom come to your house, to your apartment to clean it
yeah,
every time it needed to be cleaned? No, at some point you'd clean it, right?
right,
That's a skill
right,
uh, to be healthy.
right.
So why does that knowledge just drop off whenever
Hmm.
you get a wife? It doesn't make sense.
Right,
It's not clicking.
right.
And I think a lot more women now are getting totally fed up with it. They're divorcing their asses.
Yes.
Or they're like, look,
Step it
you're
up.
gonna step up.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna have to
yeah,
step it up.
yeah.
Point blank period.
Right. Put that foot down.
Yeah, there's
Gotta
so
put
many
that.
TikToks that are like
Yeah.
the husbands don't do anything in the house.
Right.
And the woman is like tired of like asking them, complaining, just like, why can't you just do a little bit? And then whenever they do, it's like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? That's not helping.
Right.
Asking what do you want me to do when you can see
Right.
10 things that need to be done.
Right. Right.
Just do it,
Yeah.
you
I'm
know?
like I remember hearing. I'm not even gonna get too into the story because it pissed me off to no end when one of my it wasn't my barber. It was this barber shop that I went to a couple times, and I definitely stopped going. This is like a couple years
Mm.
ago, and one of the barbers, toxic masculinity, just reeking off of him, just reeking off of him. Just you could tell
Ugh.
he's been limited, he's been suppressing things. You could just tell um, he's he's trying his best to continue to fit in the box. He was saying how like, oh,
Yeah.
a woman should conform to a man, like she needs to cook for me and stuff. And I'm in my head like, okay, you don't have two hands to cook, and I'm just like, what if you could be a great cook? You better cook like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like in experience and yeah, like she's her own person, and at the end of the day, she doesn't have to be with you. She can choose to say no any moment. So it's like, sir, be
Hmm.
humble, because
Be humble before you get humbled.
exactly, yeah, yeah. We don't like
Yeah.
goodness. It does not feel good when you're on Pride Mountain and you get hit with humbleness. Oh,
Hmm.
it
That
doesn't.
fall is hard.
It falls
It is
hard.
hard.
Yeah, because pride just gets higher and higher and higher. And I was just like,
Hmm.
eventually, I mean,
You go.
I don't want you to fuck around and find out. You know what I mean? If you think that you can continue on this trajectory, maybe a lot of people, maybe a good amount of people do. Politicians, they are
Yeah.
able to continue on that trajectory of pride and just safety.
Yeah.
But any day, a scandal could come out, even though there's tons of scandals that are hidden. But I was like, a scandal could come out
Mhm.
and
Take it all away.
take it on because they know they got them scandals.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they know they
So
got them.
many secrets.
Exactly. Oh, sign an NDA, and I'm just like, because there's something that they don't want
Mm.
someone to know. I
Yeah.
was like,
And that goes back to like keeping the public ignorant.
mm-hmm,
Like these secrets, like I bet if we knew would make us feel and think differently about the government and our officials and politicians. And
yeah,
that's not what they want. Because
right,
when they, because if we know, how they're abusing their power and we take it away, that
Yeah.
means no more money for them. And they're not going to let that happen.
Exactly. That's the thing. A
They're
lot of
not.
these, politicians, and I'm not singling anyone out, I'm saying politicians, all of them.
All
All
of them.
nobody's safe right now in this comment. I mean, in this discussion, nobody's safe. Um, a lot of them, they don't really care about us. They're just playing our biases, so that they can continue to get money. And I'm
hmm
just like, I wonder if I actually like, hung out with, these politicians, that I, praise, would I even actually like their genuine personality? Like, would I even like them as a friend? Would I even like them as a person? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
screw what we see on TV. Like, if we genuinely got to know these people as just people, would I even like them? Like, if they weren't in this political seat, you know, if they were just
hmm
like a professor at school, would I even like them? Would that be that type of professor where I'm like, don't take them. He doesn't listen to the students. He's rude. Like, would I
Yeah.
even, and they don't like us. They don't hang around us middle class and lower class folk in their everyday life. They want to give us a time of the day, you know,
Mm-mm.
but
Because they're on that pedestal, on
they're on
that
that
pride
pedestal,
mountain.
right?
hmm
Right. They don't like middle class, lower class people. They only fake it, And I'm not saying this is every single person. Let me just say that. I can't, it's wrong for me to generalize. But when I said nobody's safe in this discussion, I meant, just to clarify for the folks at home, I meant that I'm not saying, oh, this Republican or this Democrat. I'm just like, no, I think both sides have, folks that don't really care about people. They just care about money. And so they're
Yeah.
tailoring to folks' biases. They're tailoring to their party's biases. And so they're limiting themselves, so that they can keep others happy.
Yeah. And keep themselves happy
Yeah,
with that bank roll. I was gonna say bank check. Bank roll.
right. Exactly. So I'm just like, they're just playing each other. They're literally playing each other.
hmm
They're like,
And they're
honestly,
playing us too.
yeah,
And they're
oh
playing
yeah.
us. Uh,
Yeah, we're all just like, you know what? Like, here's, you take my piece, and the transaction is you be president, or between the
hmm
politicians and the people, flip side, they're like, okay, I'll give you some of my freedom, so that I can have your money. And by some of their freedom, I mean, like, let's say if a politician, I'm not gonna say one's name. I don't want to get. I don't know what they're gonna do. But he actually was for masks. At first when the pandemic started, but his party and the people who
mm,
vote for the party were not for masks. So he had to, tailor to the party. So
readjust.
he's all like, in public, I won't wear a mask. I'm gonna risk my safety and my um, freedom, my true self, my freedom of choice. It it's he's like, and it's what it's seeming is like. It's like that transaction. Okay, the risk reward ratio,
Yeah.
money. I can get tons of money by just risking my freedom and my safety for just a public appearance for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody playing each other. Everybody's playing everybody. Nobody's safe.
Everybody.
Everybody's playing
If you
everybody.
know, and I love how you keep saying limits and limitations,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that may be like the roots to the nuclear family.
Yeah.
Is that people were trying to limit other people and probably most likely specifically women, like
Yeah.
trying to limit women's roles. So
Mm.
like a woman is only good for having kids and keeping up with the house,
Mm-hmm.
cooking,
Right.
taking care of the man in her life.
Right.
That's
Mm-hmm.
very limiting for a woman. And also for a man, for him to his only value in a family
Mm-hmm.
is to bring home money and maybe have a gun to protect them,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
so limiting. now people they have their hands and feet and toes in every little pool.
Right.
Like like my partner, he's the cook.
Yes.
I
Oh,
can
we love
I
a
can
man that
cook,
cooks.
yes. Oh, but he does it so well. And he likes
Right.
it and he enjoys it. So like, why am I gonna fight over that? You
Right.
know?
Right.
Like, oh, it's the woman's job. Let me cook for you.
Right.
You got it. You got it, sir. You
Exactly.
got
It's
it.
just like, back then, he wouldn't be able to discover that he likes cooking. He wouldn't be able to discover that he can
Yeah.
actually throw down in the kitchen. And something that you mentioned on limits made me think of something. And this definitely involves the nuclear family as well. I love that you keep, bringing it back because I can get off topic. I go all over the place. So thank
I'm
you
just finding
for,
the little points.
yes, thank
The
you
little
for
ties to
helping
bring
me
it back.
bring it back. Yeah. Um, limits, a lot of what limits are good for is control.
Mm,
You know, limits on a lot
yes.
of things is a great control method. And what limits do psychologically over time is it's a suppression tool.
Yeah.
It doesn't, encourage us
To grow.
um, exactly to grow, to thrive. And I think the higher ups, I think they want it like that. They want
Yes.
all the power. Limitation,
Mm-hmm.
control, and power, they are besties.
Yes. Wow, that's an awesome connection. That is an awesome connection.
It's unfortunately true. It's just unfortunately true. So they're just like, back then, um, this is all a woman could do: have kids, cook, clean the house, raise the kids, and that psychologically implies, and teaches people without outright just saying in your face. It can teach them,
Mm-hmm.
okay, no women should be in power.
Yeah.
No woman should be, CEO. No woman. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? That's what that's been teaching. And I'm so glad that, our generation especially, we're able to, and though there are some things our generation, I don't know, sometimes I don't like our generation, but I can say that our generation, Gen Zs, you know, I do applaud, you know, our ability to break limits, and break stereotypes.
Agreed.
Because what
Yeah.
breaking limits is doing, it is also breaking control, it's breaking suppression, it's breaking power that has been taught to us by
Yeah.
a higher government.
Yes.
This is global government, by the way, folks. These limit it's to keep
Honestly,
people controlled. It's to keep them, monitored, to keep them divided, separated, divide and conquer, control and conquer.
whoa.
It all happens, control and conquer. So we're doing our thing here, folks. Go Gen Z. They're scared of us.
They really are scared.
They really are.
And that just oh no, my hair is stuck in my earring. That made me kind of think about how you said like, yeah, this is a global thing. Like this isn't just
Yeah.
America necessarily. But like what's one thing that also has like a global reach other than our democracy?
Ooh.
Religion.
Facts. We you
That
we
oh
That's oh yes, that's a whole other
wow.
episode. Speak, Queen. I'm here for it. I'm here for
Yes.
it.
Because they love to use religion as a form of control as well.
Wow.
Because they I don't know how long it's been that they've been taking like at least for example the Bible as literal instead
Right.
of just like maybe stories
And
that we can learn from
symbolism,
and
exactly.
symbolisms. You know, they're
Yes.
taking it as fact,
Which is
and
mostly the Bible is mostly dreams and journal entries. Literally, literally.
wow.
And now I know some information on the Bible that would piss a lot of people off who, prize the Bible and stuff like that. It's just that,
Mhm.
things have been changed, revised, quote unquote, many, many times in the Bible. And it was for political, gain, control, and power. The Bible that we see today is
Mhm.
not the Bible that, was first. In fact,
Once
I actually
was.
have the first Bible. It's so much love in there. But
Really?
guess what was the first change to the Bible? Well, a lot of people are gonna be mad. And then this is the thing, folks. This is gonna feel uncomfortable and it's gonna make you want to project because what you already knew is now being challenged.
Mhm.
Notice, folks, that this didn't start with you, this started to you. So, what I'm about to say next, I encourage you to do your own research, folks. If you have a connection with, Jesus or your higher power, um, I think it's not a bad thing that you just, try to get to know him more, and you
Mhm.
can do that through this because there are certain things that, the higher power gave us. By the way, God is the biggest they them ever. Because God himself does not have an
Okay.
entity. He's only called Father because that is symbolic. Fun fact.
Mhm.
Fun fact, a lot of people don't know that.
Love that.
Yeah, God doesn't have a gender or a sex. Jesus, that's different. But God himself or itself, it's literally he's the biggest, the entity is the biggest they them ever. But anyways, folks, so what started the change of the Bible
Let me know.
is
Let us know.
exactly was the Council of Nicaea in the year 325 AD, so the 4th century. Mind you, bunch of corrupt politicians, all males. Not everyone was corrupt, but guess who got the order together and guess who led the Council of Nicaea? It was Constantine, or was it?
Mm.
I think it was Constantine. Whoever it was, he didn't even believe in the Christian God. He believed in the sun god. Um, he was a Roman. He believed in a sun god um, that has nothing to do with Christianity. And he gathered the Council of Nicaea together because he wanted to implement some of the, um, you know, uh, aspects and qualities of his sun God into the Bible. So, fun fact, the Old Testament was never a part of the Bible to begin with. It just wasn't. Even Apostle Paul was saying, do not put this in the Bible. This is not supposed to be. So that's the thing. Like, and I got my
Wow.
facts, but and and then we got King James. We got the Second Council of Nicaea. We got Martin Luther. We got all these revisions, all these corrupt political revisions. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
folks, this is what this gets me. There has been limitations. And now that folks know this
Mhm.
information, they're going to challenge it. They're going to be like, no, this is what the Bible says. No, 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 go and look what the Bible originally says. Because you're just reading
Yeah.
a translation. And I'm like, one of the biggest changes in the Bible was 1936, was when they added the word homosexuality that didn't even mean same sex, anyways. Homosexuality meant the study of human sex because we are Homo
Homo
sapiens.
sapiens. Yeah.
It's basically sex education. It's the first word of sex. And the word's not even English. The word is German.
Whoa.
People are knowing. And when the Bible said, first of all, the Old Testament wasn't even supposed to be in the Bible. But when it said, man shall not lie with man, no, 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 no. That's not what that originally said. It said, man shall not lie with little boys. Why? Because it was normal back then for rich people to sleep with children, and it was a religious practice, not of a Christian religion, but a religious practice for men to sleep with little boys as well. So it was like, you know, um, it's just and crazy, and then it's like it's that's the context of it, you know. And also the
Wow.
context was also under the realm of thou shalt not worship another god, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was just that's what that is. So it's just like there was never this whole, you know, sexual orientation labels back then. That never existed. Like, for example,
It's
if
Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
oh my gosh, or even Eva, I'm like, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. You know, and so mind blown, right? Like mind blown. Like
Yes.
shit has been changed and it puts limits and it creates division. And division is control, divide and conquer, limit
Mm,
so that you can leave. That's what that is. Religion.
that,
It's there's definitely some government control. That's why I want people to grow spiritually outside of the realm of religion.
yeah.
That's not saying, oh, people worship a different God than your faith. No, no, no. It's saying, you know, get to know your higher power for
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Yeah. Don't
You
let
know?
anyone else tell you what you should feel or what you should know or what you
Yes.
should think about
Exactly.
these certain things because you're a
Yeah.
part of this
And just
community.
because we don't believe something doesn't mean it
Doesn't mean
ain't
it's
true.
not true.
Boom.
Topic
So,
one, done.
Lavender, it just seems like we just preached a sermon of honesty.
I feel like we just solved half of the world's problems.
You really did. You did. You did. You brought it up, and I just joined with you.
You hammered it home. Oh
Hammered
my
it home.
gosh.
We just solved half of the world's problems. And this is going to be,
You
and
really
it's
did.
understandably, someone listening to this is going to be uncomfortable. It's understandable they're going to get mad at this because, you know, of course, something that you've been taught your whole life as right, when it's challenged, it can be hard to unlearn things. You know, it can be hard
Hmm.
to see because it's just like I was taught, you know, for example, like people can be taught, oh, to hate Muslims. Like I was taught to hate Muslims, you
Yeah,
know? And when Muslims,
unfortunately.
yeah, right? And when people who are Muslim or of the Islamic faith as well, you know, they were always so nice to me. Christians weren't nice to me,
Mm,
but those of the Islamic faith and Muslims, they were so nice to me. And so I encountered that challenge, you know, because I'm just like, this is what I believe,
yeah.
but this is what I'm seeing
Experiencing.
and
Yeah.
experiencing exactly. So I'm just like, um, I don't need to hate these people, you know? That's
Hmm.
not okay. You know what I mean? It's just like they're human beings and they love me and I love them and you know, nothing should separate us. You know what I mean? I'm just like at the end of the day, we are all
Yeah.
human beings, beautiful human beings.
And spiritual, full of life. Everyone
Full of it.
has that ability to connect with their spirituality, like with that whatever higher power you want to call it. Because when you really think about it, there's probably like 100 different religions. They all boil down to the same thing, like one entity
Hmm.
being the most powerful, the all-seeing.
Right.
He moves or they move in a way
Hmm.
that we can't explain, but we can feel it,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And we should normalize, I guess, being open-minded or just like allowing yourself to experience what you're experiencing and internalize it. Because
Yes.
like if say you were like a different person and you were taught to dislike Muslims and you see all of them are they're just nice people, they're normal people. Like if you weren't open-minded and had an open heart,
Hmm.
you would be like, okay, well maybe this one is nice, but all of them, the rest are still bad. Still
Right.
don't like any of them.
Right.
Like it was challenged, your belief was challenged, but you
Yes.
still, for whatever reason, wanted to stay with your belief. It is okay for
Right.
two things to be true at once. Or, like it's okay for you to, you know, maybe realize that one thing that you did believe wasn't the full truth, or it's not what the
Just
reality is
preach.
right now,
You
you
just
know?
preached. You just preached. Exactly. And I think a lot of it also is like people fear being open minded because it's been
Yeah.
such a comfort zone, the beliefs that they were taught, and it's that fear if those beliefs are taken away, they have no more foundation and that they're going to fall and
Mhm.
crumble.
Mhm.
But
And they won't know who they are. Just like,
right. And I'm just like, maybe you're supposed to continue to learn who you are, continue to grow who you are. Because the you now might
yeah,
not be the you in 10 years from now. Continue to learn, grow, and evolve. Love yourself
don't,
enough to set yourself free.
yes, don't let those limitations hold you back.
Right. Right. Now,
Just don't let it happen.
there's this guy who's sexually fluid, which 98% of humanity is sexually fluid. We're just taught to suppress it. Look at what's his name's
Mhm.
study on the libido and stuff like that. Um, I'm one of the few that 2% that is not sexually fluid, and it pisses me off because men get on my nerves. You know that. But there's this guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's. I can tell. I have a great gaydar,
Mhm.
but he's scared to fully,
Open himself.
exactly. He's scared to fully accept that side of himself, even though it's there, because of these
Mhm.
limitations. And I hate that the limitations because I'm just like, girl, I would have had a husband by now. Because I'm just like, there's these guys that identify as straight. There we go. I started using the word. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, you identify as this. That doesn't mean it's
Mhm.
necessarily true.
That
But
doesn't mean what you are. Mhm.
yeah, and so yeah, and I'm just like, damn it, because he identifies as straight. And I don't know, it's just because a lot of the guys, they end up liking me, quote unquote, and I'm just like, follow that. Follow that. Because it's like, when it's religion
Yeah.
holding you back, man, I'm just like, I would love to just sit them down and be like, okay, this is the real truth.
Yeah. Like
Also,
let them know what it is.
a lot of people don't know that one, King James was a hoe. He slept around with men, women, children. Um, yeah, yes,
Uh-uh.
yes. King James. Now, folks who are Christians call themselves believers. Folks, not everyone who got a say so in what gets taken in and taken out of the Bible over the centuries, not all of them were believers. King James,
Mm.
for example, um, he wasn't even a believer. He only joined the Protestant, aka Protestant, because they protest things that challenge their power. Um, he
Interesting.
only joined them because it gave him more power, and he was able to outlaw the tamper with Bible that was used before. So it just seemed like the Bible got more hateful and hateful over time. Pretty much, that's what
Mhm.
happened. But yeah, King James was an awful person. Um, if you met him, you would not like him. People prize, oh, I only read the King James version of the Bible. And I was like, do you even know who King James is? I'm just like, yeah, his
Ooh.
version. I was just like, trust me, if you learned who he is, you would run. People, if
Mhm.
he was alive today, society would hate him.
Canceled. Canceled.
Canceled. He's kind of like a Jeffrey Epstein.
That's what it sounds like. That's
That's
very
exactly what it sounds like.
disgusting.
That man. That's why he was like for the whole. Oh, let's change the word to say man shall not lie with man. So that means, oh, I get to sleep with little boys. He
Mhm.
ain't shit. And then
Mm.
also, he didn't want society because he also thought that if he was able to, um, like, okay, let me rechange my thoughts. So if he had two kings, like if he had a husband, King James wouldn't have all the power.
Mhm.
Now, if he had another
Mm.
wife, a queen, he would still have the power. So he was power hungry. Um, he was
Wow.
horrible, because it's not like he liked guys. Fun fact, in Abraham Lincoln's, you know what I'm about to talk about, right?
I don't think I do.
Yes, you do. Okay, so folks, let's jump to Abraham Lincoln. See, fluidity has been around, folks. It's human. Abraham Lincoln would write in his articles that he had a slither of lavender. I
Mm,
researched that and dig some into it because lavender meant, you know, kind of like a same-sex attraction. And
yeah.
he said that he had a hint of lavender. And I'm just like, and I researched that because you had sent it to me, but I did some actual like research and digging, and I'm like, bingo.
Wow. Yep. I do remember sending you that. God
Hmm.
damn.
He had a hint of lavender. I'm just like,
And that just brings me back to men don't like women. They like men. Men
exactly.
men
They
like
like these
men.
aspects of men. They like men,
That's what
you
they
know,
like.
they like men, or they're just fluid, or they're just hiding
Mm-hmm.
it, or you know what? I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, y'all, if y'all don't
Like don't be so
accept yourself,
limited.
right. I
Like
was like,
like more people could be happy if they were just who they are. Like hiding
mhm,
parts of yourself like that creates this dissonance in your head where it's like you want to do this, you want to feel this way, but you know you can't, so you suppress it, and then other things come up, and then you're
yeah,
angry or you're disrespectful or just a flat out
right.
asshole.
And it's not fair to you as an individual or the others around you. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of people missing out on so much love because they've
Mhm.
been taught to have limits, you know, and you don't know better as a kid. So you're just thinking, oh, this way's the right way, you know, and so,
Right.
yeah, a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like, it's not fair to themselves, you know, and I'm just like, folks, like, when you get to the end of the life of your life and you're going to be so regretful that you didn't really get to be who you are, you didn't really get to love
Yeah.
yourself, you didn't really get to accept yourself, you know. And I hate when people
Mhm.
say, and this is just me, this is just my opinion, when people say struggling with their sexuality, I'm just like, no, 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 I think what it is, from what it seems like on the outside, it seems like you're struggling with the reality that society will harm you. Right. When people say,
Yes.
because my best friend had told me, well, there's more gay people in Portland than like here in Indiana, because that's where I was going to grad school at yeah, last year, and I was like, well, no, that's because Portland has an environment where, you know, being yourself is encouraged.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
less limits in that arena than there is, because like everywhere has its limits, you know, but it's
Mhm.
like limits can look different. So it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, the limits of you got to suppress this, you can't be this way, that's not how it is in Portland. It's like
Mhm.
be yourself, and you know, therefore people are more willing to be themselves. They're
Themselves.
less likely
Yeah.
to hide what they, you know, are having or feeling inside because they're given
Mhm.
that safe space, they're giving that environment to do so.
Right, but in places like Indiana, who are like, country, maybe on the Bible Belt, you know, those limits are strong.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you must suppress, or else you will or can be hurt, either
Mm-hmm.
emotionally or physically.
Right.
Both are bad. Both are very bad and have lasting effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, maybe you won't get beat up, but like years of bullying,
Mm-hmm. Right. So
those
it's a
internal scars,
yeah.
no joke.
Yeah. Yeah,
No
and
joke.
that's yeah, 1000%. You know what that makes me think about? Oh, I can tie that into is love a prison? I can
Mm,
tie that into it as well. Give me 1 second, Lavender, because we about to hit an hour. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hang up the
yeah.
Google meeting and then I'm gonna log back in because I only
Okay.
get 1 hour for free on the Google meeting. So you stay on, but I'm gonna hang up and log back in. So you know we love to cheat the system.
We do. All right, I'll be here.
Thanks everyone for tuning into part one of Lavender's episode. Woo! Okay.